everyone, it's me Bailey and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is episode 2 in my Read Diversely series. So it is May, which is AAPI month, and if you don't know, that stands for Asian American and Pacific Islander. And so in today's video I'm going to be reading books that are all by AAPI authors, and some of them will feature AAPI main characters as well. But I wanted to make sure that I was prioritizing reading AAPI authors this month. So this video, I am specifically reading only books by these authors. So the plan is to read 4 books. In this video, we'll see how that ends up going, but I do have 2 romance books and 2 fantasy books, so we will see how it goes. I am in search for a really good fantasy right about now. I'm feeling like I am kind of in a fantasy mood, so I'm trying to decide if that is where I want to start or if I want to start with one of the romance books. I feel like I tend to start with the romance books, and that usually seems to work for me. So I'm thinking maybe I will start with a romance book, but let's go over the TBR first. So 2 books I do not currently own and 2 books I do. So let's get on into the TBR. So the first book is The Design of Us by Sajni Patel, and this is a romance book, and I want to say this is workplace romance, enemies to lovers, fake dating, and that sounds so fun to me. And I think they end up on like a company retreat or something and they have to fake date, so that sounds fun, and I feel like that might be the one that I start with. The next one is The Marriage Game by Sarah Desai, and I feel like I remember this book going around a few years ago. I definitely feel like the second book in the series is a little bit more popular, and I feel like a little bit more known by people on the internet, but I'm definitely interested in reading this and seeing if I'm going to like it. And then as far as like the physical books that I have, first up I have The Beautiful by Renee Audier, and this is a young adult fantasy novel set in New Orleans, and I think this deals with vampires, which I love. And then I also have The Bone Shard Daughter by Andrea Stewart, and I am very intrigued by this one. I've had this book on my shelves for a very long time, so I'm feeling like this is also kind of where I'm leaning at the moment too. So I'm thinking that's probably either going to be between this and The Design of Us. So I'm thinking these are probably the ones that I'm going to start with. I feel like right now I can't tell which way I'm leaning. I feel like I want to read this one and The Design of Us equally at the moment, so I'm feeling like I want to just go ahead and start with The Design of Us and then see about moving into this one next. So we'll kind of see how we go, but I am going to grab my Kindle so I can start The Design of Us. So I think that's the one that I'm going to start with. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and start reading, and I will update once I have some more information on the book and what it's about and how I'm feeling. So I am getting ready to go to bed here in a second, but I wanted to give my first update on The Design of Us. I'm on chapter 13, page 132, which is 39% into the book, and this is feeling very much like not escapism for me, just because like our main 2 characters are in tech. So Banu does UX, which I don't do UX, but a lot of the stuff that they're talking about is like basically what I'm going to be doing tomorrow at work, like Jira and all of that. Like I'm like, oh, like this is very close to home. And then we're also following Sunny, and he is a He's essentially a tech lead for the developers on Banu's like program situation. So they are like co-workers, but they don't work on the same team, but they are going for the same job position, like promotion, like they're looking to both get this promotion. And yeah, like I said, it's feeling very close to what I do at work. So it's like, oh, so a lot of the terminology and things that they're talking about, I'm like, yeah, I know exactly what that is. I know what you're talking about. So there's that kind of instance, which I was a bit surprised about. Like, I didn't read the back of the book at all. Like, I went in completely blind to this book. It was mainly like a cover pick, that, and of course, because I knew the author was AAPI. So, and also another reason that I picked it was for Escape the Readathon, is because this book can fit for the book blurbed by an author that you've loved before. And so my team currently is not reading for that prompt at the moment. So I'm essentially just reading to read, and it can count towards like pages or whatever, and I'll just eventually have to figure out a different book for that prompt whenever we do get to it. But yeah, I don't know, I'm liking it. Like, it's fine. It's reminding me a bit of The Paradise Problem and The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. It's giving those type of vibes. I feel like it's very similar to a few other books that I've read. It's definitely giving like summery type summer romance vibes. It's taking place on Hawaii, and Banu has gone to Hawaii to visit her sister who lives there. She works for a hotel, so her sister gets like these hotel rooms for very discounted prices, and so she's gone to visit for a vacation. And then Sunny is there because his friend is getting married, and his friend's getting married at the same hotel that Banu's sister works for. And so they run into each other at the bar. There's a run-in with Sunny's ex, and Banu says that she is Sunny's girlfriend, and that starts their fake dating from there. I will say I am interested. I am enjoying the writing style. I feel like it's very easy to understand and read and comprehend, and I'm having a good time reading it. I'm feeling like it's a very quick read. I would definitely recommend it so far. I think I feel like Banu is a bit more prickly, but I also feel like she really suffers with like social anxiety, and I feel like it's really coming across in her interactions with other people and sort of how they became like rivals, because she was hosting a party at her house and she started having a panic attack, so she had to like get away from everyone, and she runs into Sunny, and obviously she's in the middle of a panic attack, so she's not the nicest to him, and so obviously that kind of starts their feud that they have. And so essentially their feud is that, you know, they just never really got off on the right foot. So they just feel like the hostility sort of towards each other, but there's really nothing to be hostile about. So I don't know. I'm definitely intrigued to know how they're going to kind of start to overcome this. I don't even want to say it's a miscommunication, but essentially like how they will finally like communicate what happened that night at the party and how Banu was feeling, because right now Sunny is like the only person that she feels comfortable touching her. She has a really hard time with physical touch. So the fact that Sunny is able to touch her, I feel like is very big. And I feel like we're making strides to them no longer being rivals. But I don't know. It seems like there's going to be some sort of other job opening that I feel like could come for whoever, I'm gonna say Sunny, because like at the hotel, I feel like that is something, because there is like some issues that have been happening at the hotel that I feel like is opening a segue into the storyline of Sunny getting a position that is equally as great as the position that they both applied for, and then that way they both can end up with a really great position and there's no resentment and it ends happily ever after. So I'm excited to keep reading. I am more than likely going to finish the book tomorrow. I do have the audiobook from Libby as well, so I've been doing an immersive read, but I do plan on finishing this book probably sometime tomorrow. So with that, that is my update. I'm gonna go to bed. I'm gonna let Navy inside because he is barking at the door, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow, probably with my final update of The Design of Us. Okay, so I have a bit of reading update. So earlier today while I was at work, I finished listening to the audiobook of The Design of Us by Sajni Patel. and I decided to rate this book 3 stars. I thought this book was good. I felt like it was just your average romance. I didn't feel like it was anything that I hadn't read before, but I did still enjoy my time reading it. I enjoyed the story, of course. I thought the characters were fleshed out and I liked the path that we went on in their careers. I will say I did find myself being a little bit annoyed with our main character, but overall, like, I enjoyed the book and I would recommend it. Not my favorite book of all time, but still one that was pretty good and I would definitely recommend. So then I decided to pick up The Beautiful by Renee Ahdieh. So far, I'm currently on page 81, which is the start of Toussaint or Toussaint. I'm not exactly sure of the French pronunciation of this word, but I will say, so far, I'm not super intrigued by this book. I'm not loving this book so far. Honestly, I'm quite bored and I'm wondering if it's because it's historical. It's like a historical fantasy, and I just don't know if that is what I'm interested in or looking for. Not to mention it is young adult, so I just don't know if this was like the right choice for where I'm leaning. So honestly, okay, you literally just knocked it down. Let's try that again. So anyways, I just don't know how I'm feeling about this and if I'm going to enjoy this. I feel like a lot of people that I am mutuals with on Goodreads have read this and really enjoyed this. So I'm definitely interested to see what I'm going to think. But as of right now, I don't really see myself continuing on with the series. I am just not interested enough, I fear. So I'm going to keep going. It is possible that this could potentially be a DNF and this just so happened to be wrong book, wrong time, or like right book, wrong time or something like that. I don't know. But for now, I'm just feeling very meh about it and don't know how I'm going to actually end up liking this. Okay, so a little bit of bad news. I am DNFing The Beautiful. So I made it to page 228. So the chapter was called Meet Your Maker, and I stopped in the middle of the chapter, but I am DNFing this book. I am literally bored out of my mind. I'm so bored. I'm not having a good time. I literally don't care about Celine. I don't care about Bastion or whatever his name was. I think that's his name. Yeah, Sebastian. Like, I literally just, I don't care. I'm bored. And I think too, like, it's a Victorian era book and I fear that's not for me. I don't like that. I don't like Victorian era. And I thought, oh, Victorian era fantasy, like vampires, it's set in New Orleans. Oh, it's giving originals type vibes. It's not giving originals types vibes at all. Plus it felt very YA and I'm not having a good time. I don't care. I don't like Victorian era fantasy and I think that's what it is. So unfortunately, this is a DNF for me, which is so sad because I've had this book forever. I really wanted to love this book. I heard really good things about it, but unfortunately this book is just not for me. But with that, I did actually end up starting the next book that I was going to read for this video, and that is The Marriage Game by Sarah Desai. And I started the audiobook of this today and I'm currently 20% into the book. I don't have a copy of this book. I don't have a physical version and I'm waiting on the ebook to come through from my library. It is on hold for me right now, but the audiobook was available, so I did go ahead and start that. So far I'm enjoying it. It is enemies to lovers, which is good, and kind of forced proximity, but not really. It's definitely giving opposites attract as well, so that's fun. But essentially we are following our main character. I've been listening to the audiobook and it has been a couple of hours since I last listened to it, so I have forgotten the main character's name. But essentially she ends up moving back home after she goes through a breakup and loses her job, and she starts working to create her own business. And she starts like working out of the upstairs of the restaurant that her family owns or something along those lines. But her dad had already like rented the space out to this other man. And her dad had actually ended up making her a dating resume that he posted on this website to try and find her a husband. And so now we're just kind of following the two main characters as they are working in this shared space. And it looks like our female main character is going to meet these like 10 men that her father picked out for her, and he recently had a heart attack, so he's in the hospital. And so far it's fun. I am enjoying it so far. I definitely plan to finish it at some point, but I am currently 20% into the book, so we will see. I was definitely hoping to get like an ebook version from the library or something, just so I could like have it and kind of follow along, but it looks like I'll probably end up finishing it before my hold comes through, so we'll see. But thought I would give that update really quickly, and I will talk to you guys again later once I have more of an update on The Marriage Game. Hello. Okay, I'm coming to you before I go to bed because today has been a day and I'm so tired, so I'm getting ready to go to bed. But I wanted to give the update that I did finish The Marriage Game today, and I ended up rating it 3 stars. I thought it was cute. I feel like it was a very like standard romance. I felt like if you're trying to get into romance, I feel like this would be a good one to start with. I feel like it was a very introductory type of romance. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if this was a debut from this author, just because that's kind of how it read. Like it just felt very standard, very run-of-the-mill kind of romance. I did have a good time reading it. I thought it was fun. I thought all of the mentions of the different type of Indian food was so interesting to read about. I really enjoyed reading about the culture of the dynamics of the family and how our 2 main characters kind of, while coming from similar backgrounds, how their circumstances kind of changed the way that they reacted to their culture and their families and everything like that. Like I really enjoyed that aspect of it. But overall I thought it was fine. It wasn't my favorite romance ever. I'm not running out to go buy a copy or anything, but I definitely would consider reading more from this author in the future potentially, I think. So yeah, I enjoyed it. 3 stars. So the next book that I'm gonna be picking up and the last book that I'm gonna be reading for this video is going to be The Bone Shard Daughter by Andrea Stewart, and this is a fantasy book. It is the weekend now, so I do have time to actually like sit down and physically read this because I was not able to grab a copy of this from the library or anything like that. So I needed to wait until the weekend where I could actually sit down and read this book. So this is what I will be starting tomorrow. I am doing reading sprints tomorrow morning for Escape the Readathon, which these books obviously are going towards my Escape the Readathon prompts. As of right now, when I'm filming this video, we are taking the path towards the command center. So we are trying to unlock the command center, which is your top 3 tropes right about now. So the last book did fall into that category because it was enemies to lovers. So that was fun. It was also forced proximity, which I think is one of my, so it was also forced proximity, which is one of my favorite tropes too. So the 3 tropes that I picked for that is enemies to lovers, forced proximity, and why choose. And it was definitely forced proximity because they did have to share an office space together, so they were forced to interact, and that's how they met. So that was for that one. And so enemies to lovers, forced proximity, and why choose are my 3 tropes that I picked for this prompt. So I think this one could potentially fall into enemies to lovers. I'm not sure what this is about, honestly, and it's a little bit too dark in here for me to read the back of the book because the text is literally in black. So yeah. Anyways, so that's my update. I'll talk to you guys probably tomorrow. I'm going to bed. Today was a hell of a day. Literally, like, I know this is not a weekly vlog, but I'm gonna tell you about it anyway because literally woke up this morning, took Navy to the groomer. That was fine and good. Went to Lowe's to look for ceiling fans for my other 2 bedrooms because the main area, like my living room came with a ceiling fan, my bedroom and my room came with a ceiling fan, but the other 2 rooms did not. They came with the boob lights. So I was looking for ceiling fans at Lowe's. Couldn't find the ones that I was looking for. They didn't have them in stock. So I had already placed a different pickup curbside order with Lowe's for 8 bags of mulch. So that way I could remulch my front flower beds. So had to deal with that. The curbside thing was a disaster. It was so non-user friendly. It was very not user friendly. So then I ended up picking up my 8 bags of mulch and the other couple little things that I had ordered, like a step stool, because I finally got a step stool because like my friends clown me really bad about that blue ladder that you guys have seen me use in like my Get Ready for Christmas videos, because that is the only like step stool ladder situation that I had. So literally anytime I ever need a step stool, like I'm pulling that freaking blue and yellow ladder out the garage. So I finally invested in a step stool. So picked that up today, those kind of things. Then I went to Home Depot. So then I was like, okay, well, since Lowe's doesn't have it, Home Depot's right here. Let me run into Home Depot and see if they have the ceiling fans that I'm looking for. Ended up finding some ceiling fans, so love that, bought 2 of them. And then I was like, oh, while I'm in here, I need to change my refrigerator water filter, because have I had this refrigerator for 2.5 years? Yes. Have I ever changed the filter in it? No. So I was like, it's probably about time. The water filter light has been on for probably a year now. So yeah, it's time. And while I'm in here, because I don't frequent the Home Depot, it's not a store of my choice that I like to frequent. So I was like, okay, well, this is the last minute. I'm here. I'm thinking about it. Let me just go ahead and get it, bring it home, right? Do my mulch, get my flower beds together, put out my 8 bags of mulch. It's looking good. I'm like, okay, now I'm home. I'm gross, so I made lunch plans. Let me shower, get ready. But before I do that, let me put the new water filter in. I'm sure you could probably understand where this story is going. I go get ready to leave for my lunch plans, because I'm like, okay, also too, because I'm redoing my home library front office situation. There's some books that I've been meaning to take to the local used bookstore to sell. So I'm gonna grab those. It's right by where we're going to lunch. So I'm gonna drop those off before, go to lunch, meet my friends. Then I'll go to Barnes later to pick up Fury Bound, because that was a whole other thing with my order anyways. So go to get ready to leave. I walk out of my room into the kitchen. Guess what I see? A puddle of water, because you guessed it, my fridge started leaking. That's not good, because literally next to my fridge, barely on the other side of that wall, is 5 stacks of books, 20 to 30 books high. Yeah, so just imagine if the water would have gone that way. If it would have been enough water to go that way, my books would have been ruined, and I would have been hot. I would have been hot. But thankfully the water did not go that way. I ended up catching it in time before the puddle got too big to where it spreaded towards the books. And so I'm like freaking out because my refrigerator is leaking. I'm calling my dad. I'm like, what do I do? My fridge is leaking. He's like, you're gonna have to turn the valve out. Like you'll have to turn the valve off. You need to pull the refrigerator out to turn the valve. And I'm like, I can't move the refrigerator. The refrigerator's heavy. And he's like, it should be on wheels. You should just be able to pull it. I'm sitting there trying. He's like, use the handles at the bottom and like use the door. So, and I'm doing all that. He's like, shimmy it. I'm trying to shimmy it. It's not working. It's still leaking. And he's like, okay, well, why is it leaking? And I'm like, okay, well, I was trying to change the filter, the water filter. And he was like, okay, well, do you have the old filter? And I was like, yeah. He was like, okay, well, take the new one out and put the old one back in, you know, and then wipe up the water and see if that fixes it. So that fixed it. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe this isn't the right filter. But I checked the new filter against the old filter because they looked a little different, but they had the same specs on the packaging. So I was like, okay, yeah, this is the same, no worries. Then clearly, now that it's been a few hours and I've like calmed my nerves, I realized that it was in fact user error. There was nothing wrong with the filter. I was just putting it in the wrong way. And that is why water was leaking, because the seal was incorrect and the filter was in the wrong way. So, you know, that is my B. But I ended up taking that filter back to Home Depot, and then they had some that had the same label as the one that was in my refrigerator already. That wasn't the new updated label. So I was trying to tell the woman at Home Depot, like, hey, I know this and that are the same, but like I want that one because that label is the same as the one that's at my house, and that's the same label as the one that I just returned, so I want that. And she was like, they're the same. And I was like, I realize that, and I know that this is probably very silly to you, and this is like a very silly thing, but the one that's in my refrigerator has that label. The one that I just returned has that label. So I want that label. And she was like, but they're the same. And I was like, Bestie Queen, I know. My dad told me to get the 1-to-1. And so that is what I'm doing, even though they're the same. You know they're the same. I know they're the same. We all know that they're the same. But I want that one because it has the same label as the one that's at my house. And not the same label as the one that I just returned. And she was like, I mean, okay. Got the one with the same label. Bring it home. Put it in, realized that I had user error the first time based on the position of the wording and the letters on the little twisty part. But I'm just gonna blame it on the fact that the other one had a different label. So that was the cherry on top of my day. Plus I'm literally exhausted from mulching this morning, and then yesterday we did spend some time ripping out carpet. So I'm feeling it. My body is feeling it. My body is tired. So I am probably getting ready to go to bed here now. Navy's already asleep. He also had a very long day because he did go to the groomer, and then he did end up going with me to Home Depot, and we did go to Petco so that way he could get some food. So he's been out and about busy today. I've been out and about busy today, and I'm ready to go to bed. So that's enough of my story time. I know that was a little bit of a unplanned break in this video, but I needed to tell you guys about it because literally I talked to you like this is a FaceTime call, and honestly, I would have FaceTimed you about it because like, what? But anyways, that's it. I'll talk to you in the morning. It is now Saturday, and I'm actually getting ready to leave here in a few minutes to go play Mahjong. We're going to play a pool Mahjong, I guess. I don't know. But so I did not update earlier today, but I did do some reading in The Bone Shard Daughter by Andrea Stewart. I started and read all that I've read today when I was on sprints this morning. So I made it to chapter 21. I'm on page 192 and I have not picked it up since this morning because literally after sprints I went to bed. I fell asleep and took a nap and slept for like at least like 2 hours, 2.5 hours. But yeah, so didn't do much more reading of this. But from what I can gather from this book, we're following a different cast of characters, and one of the characters that we're following is Lynn, and she is the Emperor's daughter, and they use what is called bone shard magic, and essentially every child at the age of 8 is sent to be collected from. They grab a bone shard from the child, and then they use the bone shards to kind of like power the empire and things like that. I am still not 100% sure how it works, but Lynn is essentially the heir to the throne, but she doesn't really know how to use the bone shards. But there is a man who her father adopted, almost kind of, he's not her brother, but he's more of like her rival sort of, because they're both competing for the throne, and he knows more about the bone shard magic than she does, and so we're like following that. We're also following Jovis. He's a smuggler, and he has started smuggling children out of these cities where these bone shard collections are taking place. So we're following him, but also his wife has been essentially kidnapped, so he is looking for her. And then we're also following another girl, I forget her name, but she is like a governor's daughter, and so her and her wife, well, I guess not wife, her and her girlfriend are kind of about to start helping the rebellion in a sense. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I don't know. It's very slow to start, I will say. I am not really having the urge or inkling to pick this up. So that's kind of where I'm at. I was hoping that this was going to be like action-packed, amazing, like gripping straight from the beginning. And I'm not really getting that vibe right now. I'm hoping that the more that I continue to read, the more that I start to like it. But for now, I think it's just okay. I'm not really seeing myself continuing the series as of right now. But obviously, the further I get into it, the more potential that there is for me to continue the series. But I don't know. We'll just see. I'm not absolutely loving it right now, but it's fine. I'm definitely thinking that I will finish it, I think. So yeah, I probably won't read any more today, but I definitely think that I will probably finish this tomorrow potentially. I think Mel is hosting Sprint, so I think I might jump on those tomorrow and hopefully I can knock out the rest of this. But yeah, so that's my update. Thought I'd give that update before I head out, and I'll talk to you more than likely tomorrow. I finished The Bone Shard Daughter and I fear it's not what we were wanting. It's not what we were expecting. So I am giving this book 2 stars. This was not for me. I did not enjoy this book. I thought this book was so slow. I thought it was so boring. I literally had the hardest time picking this book up. I did not want to pick this book up. When I was reading it, I basically was just like, I don't care about anything that's going on. I don't care about any of these characters. I just did not want to read it, and it was like so boring to me. At one point I was literally sitting there reading it and I fell asleep, and I just fear that this was not for me. But if you like a bit of a slower fantasy, then I would definitely recommend picking this up. But for me, this was just too slow. I felt like the plot was just not something I really liked or cared to read about. I didn't feel like I was on the edge of my seat. I don't feel like I was super intrigued or anxious to know more about the bone shards and the magic of this world. I really just didn't care. And like, I know quite a few people do really like this book in this series, but unfortunately this one just was not for me. It was definitely a bit slow. So I just did not like this. So I will be unhauling this book at the end of the month just because not for me. But now that I am finished with this book, I can log it for my escape portion. We are logging pages again, so I can log this for the pages that we're currently logging for. So I will do that. But yeah, now that I'm done with this, that means that that is the end of this vlog. I will say I feel like my reading in this video was a bit off, and I feel like I just didn't really pick the best books, I feel like, for me. But I will say it is good because I did get 2 books off of my physical TBR. And I just, for some reason, just didn't love the books in this video. I will say I did enjoy the 2 romance books. I did enjoy those, especially I think The Design of Us. I feel like that one is probably my favorite out of the books that I read for this video. But I definitely plan to continue to try and prioritize reading more diversely as the year goes on. I'm really happy that I'm able to intentionally try to diversify my reads. So if you have any books that you think that I would like by some authors that are AAPI, or have AAPI characters that you would like to recommend to me in the comments, I would love to get any and all recommendations. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please make sure to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see more content from me. I will have all of my social media linked in the description, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.